Welcome to Socially Unfiltered,
That's the sleaziest tactic I have ever heard.
I cannot believe they would say that to you.
an open discussion all about social media, entrepreneurship, pop culture, and everything in between.
We're just some DIY girlies.
It costs $0 to support your friends.
You'll go on deep dives and doom scrolls with your hosts, Lex and V, to uncover the stories behind the headlines and look at everything through an unfiltered lens.
I want to relive the 2000s.
Not the trauma dumping on a Monday.
So grab a drink and get ready for a lot of yapping. Don't worry, there's no quiz at the end.
Strategy is such a buzzword.
English isn't my first language, so that's my excuse.
This is the Socially Unfiltered podcast.
Yeah. Wait, I was the above.
I had something to tell you, and I was gonna be like, did you see this? But I forget what it was. Fuck. What was it?
Is it the Annabelle doll?
No.
Moved to New Orleans.
Oh, that's gonna piss me off because there was something. Wait, did I screenshot it?
Oh no.
Damn, I didn't even screenshot it, so I don't even know.
Would it be in your recently watched on TikTok?
Probably, but that was like 4,000 videos ago. Like, fuck, what? Did I like it? No. All right.
I hope it pops
Well,
back up.
Wait, I saw this really cute TikTok actually today, and it was these kids, and they did a video like in 6th grade.
I saw it.
I was literally sobbing at the
I love that.
at the guy with the glasses, and he was just like, just be kind to everyone. It was so sweet.
And what did the one kid say? He's like, "You're gonna do it," or something.
Yeah. Oh, that was so cute.
Literally so cute.
Well, it's like the little letter I wrote to myself too, and when that came, I was sobbing.
Yeah, that's insane. I can't believe you did that. And what is the timing of it? I mean, obviously 5 years later, but
I know, it was just
perfect
weird.
timing.
Yeah, it was perfect timing, and I was right on the money with everything. Like,
Yeah, you killed it. Did you do that through the thing? Isn't there a website?
yeah, it's called Dear Future Me,
Yeah.
and I wrote the letter in May of 2020. It was during COVID, I think.
That's
So then
insane.
5 years
Think about,
later,
how different everything was.
everything. Okay, yeah, it's at one part. I wonder if you're thinking about kids or moving up in your career path. Do you own your own home? Is it everything you've dreamed about? I bet Mark is working so hard. At this time, 5 years ago, he was a manager for Gabe. Is he still doing that, or is he working at the Clam Man and DJing part-time? I hope in 5 years he can read this with you and just know how happy I was in the moment writing about us. You guys just celebrated your 4-year anniversary. At this point, it's your 9-year anniversary. And girl, if you don't have a ring by now, I swear. Anyway, hope you're living your best life traveling, eating good food, staying healthy, and make sure to always be nice to your mom. She's been so amazing through this quarantine, making home-cooked meals, telling you she loves you, and being the best single mom in the world. I want you to text her right now and tell her you love her. So cute.
Veronica, stop.
I know.
Wait, that's crazy
So-
that by the time you get the next one, it'll have been 10 years.
I'm doing another one in 5. You can do 10.
No.
but
By the
since
time
then,
you get the
I
next
know.
one, it'll have been 10
Oh
years
my
from
God,
the
that's-
first one.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
scary.
Everybody pause right now and go to dearfutureme.com and write yourself a letter. That was the
Yeah.
cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's so crazy.
I love that.
And just, I don't know. It's just so weird to see
Read.
because, yeah, you can log in and I think look at the letter that you sent, but, or just select don't show me until, and I've literally forgot all about this that I even did it.
I literally would have forgotten about that.
Yeah, I was but it's so true. What I wrote, it's hard stressing out as a 22-year-old about jobs, life plans, apartments, staying in touch with friends. But just know the 22-year-old that put everyone first will always be true to herself. And I know that you are staying true to you 5 years later. It's so crazy. And I think
22-year-old you and 22-year-old me were very different people. I was not writing about staying healthy and having a good heart. I was trying to find a recreational activity for that night.
yeah,
That's so funny. You've always been ahead of your time.
I know. But staying in touch with friends, I feel like that is
Yeah.
the perfect little leadway into our episode. We're just going to chat all about friendships in your 20s and your 30s because life is hard and maintaining friendships and relationships is also hard.
Oh, I just almost started singing F is for friends who do stuff
Get
together.
together, you it for you and me.
And for
It's
anywhere.
down here in the deep blue sea.
And scene. And for our next trick,
Yeah, so let's get into it.
let's talk about friends.
Yes, I think I guess our first topic can be just knowing the difference between venting and emotional dumping, because there is a difference. And I think sometimes it's hard, especially like we mentioned, life is really, really hard for everybody. So I think it's also knowing if your friend is ready to hear the things that you are about to dump on them. And it's like a weird thing to be like, "Hey, are you in a mental place to like listen to these things?" And
Can you take
because it,
on my problems?
yeah, it's very easy to get drained by other people's things
Shit.
going on in the world and everything. So it's, I think there is a difference between just like a quick vent sesh or just like fully dumping this like trauma on your friends, because they might not be in the capacity to handle that. But I also think we should chat about like what can you say when you don't have the capacity to take on somebody's emotional situation or dumping, and like how to still be a good friend and be there for them without sometimes able to take that on.
Yeah, I don't do a good job at that. I think I tell everybody everything is fine. Come tell me
Yeah.
all of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think there's a very big difference between, like you said, venting and emotional dumping. And especially if you're like if you are only ever going to that friend to vent about something or
Mm-hmm.
to complain about something, and like yes, they might be a great soundboard and they might be somebody that you trust to talk about those things, but it starts to like, even if the things that you're venting about are stuff completely or things completely out of your control, I think it does start to like, I don't know if resentment is the right word, but it's like, oh, the only time I hear from this person is when they need
Right.
to complain about something. And again, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just say no to hear. Well, I guess you can. A lot of times you don't want to just say no to like
Mm-hmm.
hearing somebody's problems. But I do think, I don't think you always have to be open to hearing it. I think where I find myself a lot is always open to hearing it and just being like, I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah.
I don't have any solution for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't try to fix problems that I can't fix, but I am probably more open to hearing about them than I probably should be, because I think I take on a lot of other people's
Yeah, for sure.
emotions with that. But it, again, there's a big difference between being like, hey, I had a really bad day. Can I like complain to you about this? As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like, if your relationship isn't doing great and you're calling somebody
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing you're talking about is this, but like they're going to start to hate that person. Like it's just
Yeah.
how it works. So I think it's important to understand the difference between like, are you venting just because you like have something on your mind? Are you venting because you like have a problem that you like kind of want somebody to see if needs to be escalated? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's just such a different like approach to so much of it that can be
Yeah,
hard for somebody if it's the only thing in your friendship that they receive from your end.
for sure.
And that sucks. Because
Yeah.
nobody wants to be like, oh, I hate your boyfriend because all you do is complain about him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But when it's like real life things like, oh, you know, this person hit my car and totaled it, like that's not
No.
emotional dumping. That's talking about things that are out of your control. But again, if you're just like constantly bringing a problem,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I have done that. Like I feel like I've done that to friends before where I'm just complaining about the same thing over and over, and at one point is it like not venting anymore and it's just like complaining. And I feel like you just have to be more self-aware that the problems you are bringing to your friends, it's like, yeah, at one point they're probably going to get tired of hearing about this and they want you to do something and make a change. And I think it's also like good on the friend to set that boundary and be like, then do something, like say something. And like, I've had you be that person for me. I've had Gabby be that person for me before. Like, this needs to change, or like, I don't know, just there is a difference between like, oh, I'm just venting about this thing, but like I'll get over it, versus like consistently dumping on people and like
Like
complaining, but
there's an
then
issue that you're not addressing.
yes, but not changing anything. Like, that's where it becomes like, well, you just want to like complain and talk about something, but you don't want to actually change it. And that's something I've had to unlearn, I feel like, this year, is how to like actually make that change instead of just talking about it all the time, because that gets exhausting for everybody, even yourself. So
Yeah.
that, I
And
feel like
it's
that's the difference. Which, and like, your friends can be supportive, but at what point is it going to be draining for them as well?
right.
That you aren't taking advice, maybe, or that's another thing too. I think it's also like, are you in a place to be looking for advice, or do you just need me to listen, or
Yeah,
like,
I feel like it's usually that people just need somebody to listen, but I feel
mm-hmm,
like it's like human nature to want to either like relate to them on that by
mm-hmm,
like telling them like, "Oh, I went through this, so I understand how you feel about that." Like sympathizing with them, but I also think it's just like we just want to help people, not
mm-hmm,
just us. I think it's like literally human nature to be like, oh, you should like do this or try that or whatever. And like it is very like, for example, if you have a friend who just like constantly is a horrible friend to you, and then you're telling your other friend how much you don't like this friend,
mm-hmm,
but then you're still do like that is when it's like, hey, this is like an emotional dumping. Like you clearly are not going
mm-hmm.
to cut this person out of your life. Like I can't hear about this person's friendship anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing. If it's like, again, my car got crashed, I lost my job, I did this. Like if it's things that are like truly out of
Mm-hmm.
your like that's different. And I think I am very good at telling people to confront things and then not doing it myself, but there does
Yeah.
come a point where it's like not just with you or anybody, but like it's at some point, like if you can't acknowledge that the problem is just continuing, like you are going to lose the better things that you have, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird too because I think like especially with like I was finding myself like justifying a lot of things in like my super long term friendships being like, oh well, this is just like how they are, and like this is, and it's like, well, I can't not be friends with them, like we've been friends for 10 years. But at the end of the day, like you can't let little things like that keep you tied to these people that I was not my best self around them, or they didn't
Mm-hmm.
truly want the best for me. And then I was finding myself complaining about it to like real friends, and then those real friends were like literally, why do you even hang out with them? And I'm like, well, I've
Right.
been friends with them for 10 years, like I can't just not be friends with them anymore. And it's like, no, you can. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be different, it's going to suck, but sometimes you have to just like rip the band-aid off of that. But I've
Yeah.
been in that situation where I was finding myself in draining situations that I was just complaining about and not doing anything because I was more comfortable where everything
Mm-hmm.
was.
Yeah. It's also just hard to figure out a way to confront those problems, and like how the other person will perceive it, and like where does the friendship go from there. I think it's just a scary thing in any friendship relationship. It's like, when it's been so long term and like so one way, you're like, is this going to come out of left field if you make that change, or at one point you just cut people off. And there's been like two instances in my life that I can just think about where I was like, yeah, this is not serving me anymore. Like, this friendship is just not what I want. And it's like, you really have to put yourself first and not just be like, oh, well, it's been a friendship for this many years, or like they've been there for this instance, and they are good people if we just look past this part. And it's like, you shouldn't have to make those excuses and like reason with yourself, I guess. Like, it should just be. And I don't know. I go back and forth between like, friendship should be easy, but also friendship does require work. And I
Right.
think that's like a part of, I've been seeing so much about like the low maintenance friend theory. And I also go back and forth on this because yes, I think there's an extent to where like being a low maintenance friend is healthy, but I also think that sometimes it can be like neglect as well. Like it's you're not
Or
being a
like
good
very
friend.
surface level, like if you're
Yeah.
not ever, yeah, like if you're both putting in low maintenance effort, and I completely agree with you too. Like I do think like it at the end of the day, like the fact that we like not just us, but like the fact that you or anybody are friends, like that part should be easy. But like
Mhm.
at the end of the day, we are all human beings, like with our own problems that unfortunately bleed over into our friendships once in a while,
Mhm.
hopefully not very often, but like it if you're not willing to work through that with that friend, then it does kind of come off as like, like yes, friendship should be easy, but it also is like sometimes there's going to be some that you have to put a little bit of work into, but it
Mhm.
should never be like continuous. Like it shouldn't
Right.
be like every few weeks we're having to like sit down and regroup. Like it can
Yeah.
be like twice a year, I think is like
Mhm.
the max where there needs, if there ever needs to be like, hey, this is bothering you. And that's something that's really hard too, is like figuring out how to approach different people because
Mhm.
everybody has their own communication style. And like, even
Yes.
in like a romantic relationship, I think it takes a long time to establish like how you guys best communicate with each other. And
Mhm.
like, it's the same with friends. Like, there are people who if something happens and they need to be like talked to about something, there are people that would prefer it be in text so they don't feel bombarded, but there are people who feel like when they put stuff in text the tone gets lost. There's people that
Mhm.
would prefer to do it on the phone, but that gives somebody else anxiety to like have that like real-time communication. So like it does suck trying to figure out like what the best way to communicate if there is an issue to somebody,
Mhm.
because I also think it can very much come across as like attacking if the person doesn't do it correctly, and it can come off like you're being a bad friend, you're doing this, you did that,
Mhm.
this is affecting me, and not like, hey, this is something that's come up, like I would love if we could talk about this and like figure it out, because exactly like you said, like it is weird to like, not weird, but like there is this moment of like, okay, what do we do from here? Like, do we
Mhm.
go back to normal? Does the friendship stay the same? Is everything going to be different from now on? Like, it's very nerve wracking, I think,
Yeah.
to like have to be that person. And we literally just got done talking about this. Like, you shouldn't have to be that person. Like, you shouldn't have to be the one like continuously like bringing problems to people's attention and like wanting to talk about these things, but at the end of the day, like there just are people that aren't going to initiate that, and it's just not who they are, and they're very much like, we can continue on like nothing happened, and
Mhm.
there are people that can't, and sometimes you have to be that person that might look like an asshole for a second for bringing something up, but then it fixes everything. Like, it's
Right.
hard to get the nerve to do that.
Oh yeah, it's so hard to do it, but then once you do, you just feel like so much better. And yeah, I feel like I've had to have a lot of like hard conversations as of like this past year, I think, but I just have always been like nervous too, I guess. Like I never used to want to cause any like I don't know, like tension or controversy, and I feel like it's so necessary and it's actually a good thing in friendship because it helps you both like be on the same page about how you feel. Like no one's going to know how you feel unless you tell them, and
Mm-hmm.
I just think it is so much easier after the fact because you feel more comfortable like coming to this person, or like it could blow up. I mean, there was like in college, I remember there was an instance where I just like brought my feelings to a friend and it was like my best friend, and it was taken so wrong, and our friendship was done, and that was that. And a couple years went by, and during COVID she texted me like to apologize. It was like 3 years later or so, or like 2 years later or 3 years, and she was like, I've had like so much time to think about stuff like during COVID, and she apologized, which was crazy. But that was like a 7 year friendship that was just it was, we have freaking matching tattoos. Um, so that was tough, but I mean, at that point, I don't know if maybe I didn't communicate things the right way. And that's also like something that I think just checking in with yourself of like, it maybe wasn't all on that person. Like it probably was on me too. Like maybe I didn't communicate it the right way.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't like seeing her side more. I don't know. There's just like, I feel like I'm way more open now when I go into conversations like, this is how I'm feeling, but like, tell me what you feel and what you saw and like any response back, and we can actually have a conversation. Where before I feel like I always thought that it had to be like a fight and then who wins, and that's just not reality of friendship in your 20s and your 30s. That's like college and high school, and you just like fight and then you talk shit
Yeah, I
about each
haven't had
other.
like a fight with a friend. Like
No.
I mean, disagreements, things that need to be
Yeah.
talked about, yes. But like a scream fight with a
Oh
friend, like
no.
I literally have not done that in, I can't even tell you how long.
No, if you're
Low
doing
key
that in
kind
your
of miss it a
20s
little
and your
bit.
30s, like there's genuinely no reason unless they're like sleeping with your boyfriend or something, like
No.
slasher tires, but
No. Well, and like I truly like at this point in my life, I think also I was joking about missing. I do not miss scream fighting with my friends. I do think it would be fun to go back to like 2016 for a weekend, but other than that, I don't miss anything about that time period of friendships. But well, that was sounded really bad. There are a lot of people I miss. I don't miss who I was in my friendships at that time. Okay. Worded, done. Moving on. I feel like at this point, yes, there are things that have sucked in the moment, but like there's so few times that I can think back on now where I'm like, wow, that shouldn't have happened. Or like this friendship ended because of this confrontation, and like that just is what it was supposed to be. Like there's
yeah.
just so few people that I look back being like, wow, I wish that like didn't like yes, I feel like I'm not wording this right. Like there's a lot of people, yes, I wish it didn't like end in turmoil or like end badly or whatever, but there's nobody that I'm like that wasn't supposed to happen that
Yeah, for
way.
sure.
And like if there is ever like if you have a complete falling out with somebody over feelings or emotions or anything like that being expressed, like again, like I think it just shows that they're probably not meant to be in your life. And if they're not meant to be in your life as a friend, then it is what it is. And I think again that like sucks in the moment because going through like any sort of like friendship breakup or anything sucks. But
Yeah.
again, there's so few things that I look back on wishing I did differently. Not to say that there aren't things I probably could have and should have done differently, but when it comes to like any friendship that ended because of a confrontation or something that happened, like there's so few things that I'm like, probably shouldn't have
Right.
happened that way. I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense.
Things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But to like the low maintenance friend thing, I feel like I had that in college with one friend, and it was just like never responded to texts, never responded to calls, was very like flaky in plans, like really didn't go out of their way to like make plans to see each other, and kind of was just like, oh, whatever, like blow off plans, things like that. I think some people I saw posting on TikTok, they're like, I'm just a low maintenance friend. Like, I don't know if I'll be there. I don't know if you'll see me. I don't respond for like weeks at a time. But I'm like, at some point, that is just disrespectful, like
Flakiness.
to your
Yeah.
friend, and you don't care. And I had to also have that conversation. I remember in college and being like, I just don't feel like you're being a good friend. Like you're flaky. You're never around. Like you don't answer. It just feels like this isn't. There's a one-sided friendship, and then it changed, and everything got a lot better from there because we had the conversation, and they admitted that that was like, yeah, this is like a fault of mine, and a lot of people have actually brought this up. So sometimes it just takes like having that conversation for things to change, because maybe they don't even realize it, that they're being the low maintenance friend, but like almost like a neglectful friend where they're never checking in,
Right.
they don't ever ask about things, they don't respond, they flake out on plans. That's when either friendship fizzles out or you make an effort to like talk about that and find a solution. And I mean, I guess it depends. Like sometimes friendships fizzle out like that, and you're like, oh, well, they weren't really like adding any much to my life anyway. But if it's like somebody so close to you that you care to have that relationship with, I think it's worth the conversation. So I've had a low maintenance friend before, and
Yeah.
it's totally fine. You're not like, you don't need to like talk all the time and text all day long and like see each other all the time and know what
Hmm.
everyone's doing all the time. It's just like, hey, just checking in, or like, hey, what are you up to? Let's catch up like once a week or something, and like a phone
Hmm.
call. Like, I have so many different types, I feel like, of
Yeah.
communication with friends. Like, for example, with Bella, like we literally only go on a phone call like once a week. Like, we don't
Right.
don't really text like
You guys have
ever.
your own private podcast.
Literally, I'm like, we just catch up really quick on the phone, and that's enough for us. Like,
Right. Well,
me and
that's
you, we text all day long.
a different story.
Different story. Me and
That's a
Gabby,
different
voice
story.
memo
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you
a
guys
couple
will text a
times, but we
lot.
don't really text.
Hmm. Well, and that's
Like,
like
it's
I was just gonna say, like I feel like in a way I am a low maintenance friend. Not with like there are certain people that I think get a very different version of me, but like I probably will not answer my phone when you call because I'm on do not disturb. But like if you
Mhm.
text me that there's an emergency, like I will be at your front door in 10 minutes. I don't care if you like announce some big thing on social media and didn't tell me personally and that's how I find out. I will still tell you congratulations because I don't expect the constant communication. So that's why I'm like, yes, there's a difference between like, oh, I don't ever answer or like never gonna show up for anything. Like, I have
Mhm.
friends who like I'll go 3 months not talking to them, but
Yeah.
drop off a present for their kid. Like
Yeah.
there's just little things that I think are different with
Mhm.
everybody like in your communication. So I think it's okay to like not be somebody who needs the constant communication or to like be
Mhm.
updated on everything. Like it is okay to be that and you're
Yeah.
not being a bad friend in that way, but there is a big difference between like you literally just don't show up to things. Like that's
Right.
just being flaky. Like that's
Yeah.
just not being a good friend. I think friendships can be low maintenance, but you as a low effort friend cannot be a low effort friendship.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. And it's just about what you expect in a friendship. And I honestly think
Right.
that that's okay to talk about too. Like, hey, I need you to show up for me, like, for this. Or, like,
Hmm.
I really don't care if you don't answer, but, like, let's jump on a call at least, like, for this,
Right.
this, and this. Or, I don't know. I just think it's the same as, like, when you're in a relationship. Like, what are your boundaries with each other? What's your communication style? Like, what are you
Hmm.
expecting out of the friendship? Because you are growing with the people you are around as well. And people always say you're the five people you surround yourself with. So, like, making that choice for yourself of who you surround yourself with and who is going to make you a better person. In the end, I really think our friendships also shape a huge part of ourselves and who we are and like our growth. So I think it's important too to treat like friendships are almost like a relationship as well. Like, but you don't want to be up each other's ass either. Like, you need to give people that space and to be their own person. They have their own life, they have other friends. And I think that's important too, because sometimes we can get into this like codependent friendship where it's like all about this one person and you're kind of ignoring everything else and behind you, and there's other friends and there's other things going on and plans in your life. So I think that's also a big factor in setting boundaries with people and being a better friend. Like, it can help both of you, not just yourself.
I very much agree. I am looking something up that I want to read to you really quick
Mm.
because I just have been relating to Paige DeSorbo so much lately, and she did this article recently, and I can't find it, but it basically was her saying like, why do we put so much effort and time into like our romantic relationships when really we
I
should
saw
be dating
this.
our friends? Like
Yes.
I relate to that so much. Like
Yes.
I don't think a friendship, like a romantic relationship is a completely different story, but the effort and the energy that you're putting into like nurturing
Mm-hmm.
that relationship is I think similar to what you should be doing with your friends. I sit here as I just say, oh yeah, I like don't answer my phone and I don't do that. But I am willing to like with my very close friend, like I do treat it almost, I don't want to say I treat it like a romantic relationship because I think that sound, but like
Yeah.
there are priorities in my daily life and some
Yeah.
of them are like making sure that these friendships are nurtured. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to think of it, I think, as like exactly like we said before, like, oh, friendship should be easy, it should be that, it should be whatever. But then I don't know, just something in the last few years I think has just been clicking to me that like you should be putting just as much effort into wanting the best out of, again, I feel like a hypocrite saying like, oh, I literally don't answer my phone and I don't do this, but I do acknowledge that there's more effort than just sometimes answering a text that needs to go into a friendship. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved what she said and I can't freaking find it and I don't understand how, because literally it's been all over my TikTok for 2 months.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I also saw, was it her that said it or somebody else that's like, we would move for our partners, we would leave our job, we would like change all these things, but we don't do it for friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that actually is still so valuable. Like, friendships are everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's so true. Like,
Mm-hmm. I'm
you,
so mad that I can't find this
yeah,
like
that's
actual
annoying.
quote from her. It's probably on TikTok, but I'm trying not to
Oh,
make
I was gonna,
sounds.
yeah, I was gonna
I
send
was just
you on there.
Googling it to see if I could find it in the whatever magazine it was in. But yeah, great article by her if you
Mm-hmm.
have not read it. And it's just about her prioritizing her friendships in her life more than romantic relationships, not in a weird way. I feel like it can be
Yeah.
taken very out of context, but highly recommend that article from her,
Yeah.
wherever it lives. Can't find it, but recommend it.
No, I loved that. And like back to you being like, oh, I don't answer, whatever. Like, I think there's also this part where when you're like talking to someone and they have their read receipts on or something
Mm,
and you see that they saw your text, and some people will like spiral when they don't get a
fixate on it.
response. And I think it's just also about like managing your expectations when people are busy or they're overwhelmed, or like if you're on social media but you're not responding to a text, like unless that text is like urgent and you're like really asking me something and you see I'm just like on social media, I think it's fine to just like follow up and be like, hey, did you see my text? But
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of expectation around texting and just being in constant contact that
Mm-hmm.
is honestly overwhelming. Like, I have
Yeah.
even felt overwhelmed with my phone a lot because I do know that we work on social media, so we are on it a lot. And I'm like, I know people are seeing that I'm on social media, or even if I'm posting a TikTok or I'm posting something, but I haven't answered text messages, like it low key gives me anxiety because I'm like, they're gonna think I'm
Same.
just ignoring them, and I'm not. I'm
Same.
just like working, or I have these posts that I have to get up, or like,
But it's also like, not to interrupt you, but it's like this is what I want to be doing with my
yeah,
time right now. And for somebody to expect just because my phone is in my hand, like nothing
yeah,
stresses, and not that this happens to me very often, but it has happened enough that it stresses me out to post things. Like I
mm-hmm,
the thought of hitting like your story and then my phone ringing immediately 30 seconds later because somebody knows that my phone is in my hand, like gives me such bad anxiety to the point that it like truly has
yeah,
changed the way that I post on social media because I am so scared of being perceived as available. I feel like that
I
sounds
know.
so
It's
bad, but
true
like
though. Like, it
it
sucks that
is.
it's just like our jobs are on social media and
Yeah.
we are on it all the time, and like then
Like I'm
people
not
just
just
think
like
we're
chilling
available.
posting a TikTok. Like I'm
Yeah.
probably like in between meetings, like just got done posting for a client. Oh, I have
Mm-hmm.
this 5 minute TikTok that I want to post. Like that is my like brain clocking out for a minute. You know what I mean? But it's
Mm-hmm.
like if somebody's like, "Oh, I know that you're on your phone, you can answer my," like that's not, and we've talked about this so much, like especially
Mm-hmm.
me, like I don't just like rogue answer texts throughout the day. Like it has
Yeah.
to be like a full combo, and then you're probably not going to hear from me for another 24 hours at least. Like it gives me such bad anxiety because I hate it. Like
Yeah.
I hate feeling like people think I'm like not answering them, or
Yeah.
but again, it just comes
It's just
down
like
to
this
like I don't.
urgency. It's like
Yes.
always a constant urgency because it is so easy. It's in our hands. It's like right there and it's in your
Mhm.
face and the notification, and it just becomes very overwhelming. And life is overwhelming as it is. Like everything is just, everyone has anxiety, everyone's overwhelmed, everyone is, I don't know, it's just a lot. Everything's a lot. And I think we just need to have a little less expectation of people. And I'm working that on that as well. Like I just think sometimes we think people will treat us the way we treat them. And
Yeah, that's what's hard.
I think that's also a hard thing too, is like meeting people where they're at and like, but that's not really you. Like an example, I guess, of this is like, I don't know, if you're going to somebody's house, like I just always think you bring something. Like
Mhm.
I'll either bring a bottle of wine, I'll bring like dessert or something like that. And not that you expect that at your house at all, but
No.
like I'm just thinking like, oh, if somebody else shows up with like nothing, I think that's like a difference maybe in the friendship. Or like
Mhm.
for your birthday, like you get somebody a birthday gift, you get them a card, whatever. And if they don't get you anything, I think then it like multiple times of that, not that you expect like gifts or presents or whatever, but just like, oh, I'm thinking of you and like I got you a
Mhm.
card at least. Like something like that, I think is just a nice gesture. But for
Mhm.
example, like if someone just is consistently not doing anything to like show you they care, like not even a gift, just literally anything. I don't know, like
Mhm.
a freaking flower, like something
A text,
stupid and silly
honestly.
that just like makes you see that they appreciate you and are thinking of you and like for your
Mhm.
birthday or something. But if they consistently show you that they don't and they don't show up with anything, I then think you have to, you don't have to, but I'm almost like, do you then change what your values are and like who you are as a person, where you are that person that's like always going to show up with something, always going to bring a card, always going to make people feel good. I don't know, like that's the hard part too that I haven't really figured out in maybe some friendships or even just like in general, like what is the etiquette for that? Like
But then
if
yeah, and I feel like it can go the other way too. So, like, if you are somebody, again, not just you, anybody, like, if anybody is the type of person that would show up to somebody's house with a bottle of wine, but the person whose house you're going to isn't necessarily like that, are they then thinking, oh shit, now every time I go to
mhm
their house, I have to bring a bottle of wine? And like, maybe that's not in their budget. So then they're like,
mhm
I just am not fit to be friends with this person because they expect something every time. Like, it is a
mhm
very weird line to walk where it's like, this is naturally who I am and that's
mhm
naturally who you are. And like, either you're going to take offense to who that person is naturally, or you can just be like, they just aren't the type of people, they show up empty handed, and that's
yep
fine. Like, it is what it is. But it is, and we have talked about this a lot, like, it sucks when you feel like you have to change who you are
mhm
in a, not, maybe not even a bad way, but like in that situation, for example, if we've gone back and forth a few times and I'm the only one bringing something to their house, like I feel like I would maybe think like, oh, well, they like don't bring anything here, so I'm not bringing anything there. And like that does in a way kind of change who you are, but it is like you just have to like stay open-minded about why they don't. Like, again, like, is it not in their budget? Do they not drink wine? So they're like, why would I bring it to their house? Like, maybe they're assuming you just brought it for yourself. Like, there's so many different things that come into play when you're trying to put
mhm
two different people into a friendship, and it sucks when it's like you're not naturally meeting each other where you are, because then one of
yeah
you starts to feel like you have to change. And
mhm
that's not to say that you shouldn't, like, I mean, I don't think you should change depending on who you're around, but again, same example, like if you have two different friends and you know one of them always shows up to your house with flowers and dessert and you show up with, well, like, that's just the dynamic that you guys have. Whereas if there's somebody else who's like, I don't give a shit if you show up here empty handed, like, there's just such different dynamics that it's like, again, hard to not look at it as like, oh, you're
mhm
changing depending on who you're around. But it is like, how can you guys like meet each other where you are in that friendship? But it does. And like, I feel like we're using a very mild example. Like, really, I think where we want to take this example is like, if somebody's rude to you, if they're constantly like making fun of somebody else, and when you're around them you feel like you need to do those things too, like, that is obviously an issue. I think small things like Do I show up empty handed? Do I send a card or just a text? Like, those are very like friendship things to work out. But again, like, I think the more extreme
Oh yeah.
example is if somebody truly is just forcing you to change like who you naturally are into not a good person, like, that's obviously a very different story. If you're
Yeah.
having to like forfeit the bottle of wine that you would normally show up with at somebody's house, that's not that big of a deal. But and that's what's hard too, is like every single situation that we just talked about, like there's so many, like it could be this, it could be that, this person could
Yeah.
be like this, they don't like that, this person prefers, like, there's friendships are weird. Like, it is really weird, like, just to think like you guys crossed paths and like you're either going to make this work as a friendship or you're not. Like, it's a weird concept for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's also knowing about when to walk away from a friendship that
Yeah.
maybe is not serving you and not feel bad about it, or when to like work on it. And there's definitely going to be like signs that it's not working anymore, even if like nothing bad happened. Like, you are just growing as a person, and the same person you were 10 years ago when you were friends with this person might not be who you are now. And I think you can either grow together, evolve together. It's like a relationship, or you grow apart and you become different people. You have different values, and it's okay to be different. You're not like, you don't need to be the same as your friend and on the same life path. But I think if something isn't serving you, like if they're not treating you well, if they are like always making excuses for why they can't be a better friend, or I don't know. I just think there's lots of situations and why it might not be working anymore, but it's either up to you to want to work on that together and talk about it, or it's really just like the defining, like, all right, our friendship's done. I've had like two instances where I have just been like, yeah, this friendship is like really not going to go anywhere because I have tried 3 times to have the conversation and to establish some type of boundaries, and they obviously didn't work. So at that point, I think it's just easier to fizzle out and not have the friendship anymore. And it's really hard and sad because at times you're like, oh, I miss them, or like, I wish that we were able to work on that or like work it out. But at the end of the day, I think there's like a reason, like you said, for everything and why people are in your life, why they're not. And I just think you have to sometimes leave the friendship without feeling that guilt or all this drama. There doesn't need to be drama. It just sometimes is like, yeah, this isn't serving me anymore. And like, I gotta go my own
I gotta go
way.
my own way. What about us? What about everything we've been
Literally.
through?
But what about trust? You know, I
You know,
never
I
want
never
to
wanted
hurt
to hurt
you.
you. Never seen that movie in my life, ever. I know it from TikTok.
I haven't
That's
either.
so sad.
I'm shocked. I feel like you would have seen that.
No,
But no, I never watched it either.
it was right after I
I was too young.
stopped being, not, I guess the first one did kind of come out around like the Hannah Montana. I don't know. I was just way more into like Hannah Montana
Me
and like
too.
Wizards of Waverly Place. I didn't really care about
I
like
didn't care.
musical stuff
Me
at that
either.
time.
Yeah, that was not for me either. So
But I literally only know that song from TikTok.
same.
Wait,
Same.
I want to go back to when you said some people are like in your life for a little while, like
Uh-huh.
a reason, a season, or a lifetime, some might say.
Um,
And
some people come in your life for a reason, others they come in your life for a season. But baby, you are a lifetime. You're
and
welcome.
scene. This is a very musical
You're welcome.
episode for us.
Honestly, so true though. Like,
I
it's
know.
so true. Some people come in your life for some reason to teach you something, to show you something, to
And that's
open
why
your
I
eyes to
try to
something.
look back as like, yes, that sucks. And like, there's things I would do differently probably to not end a lot of friendships. But at the end of the day, like, it just is what it is sometimes. And there are definitely ones that like go to waste that shouldn't have. But I
Yeah.
think for the most part, it's easier to, maybe just easier to look back and think like that's how it was supposed to happen, even if it was not, I
And
guess.
breaking up with a friend is even harder than a
Yeah.
relationship, truly. Like, it's just it's very difficult. They've been through a lot of things with you, and it hurts. It sucks because you're used to like this person in your life and maybe talking all the time, and then it just goes like cold turkey basically, and
Right.
it's yeah, and it's weird. It's definitely a weird thing, but sometimes necessary. And I feel like if I still had those friendships in my life, like it would be very different, and I would still
Right.
be
Not great.
like making excuses, and every time being around this person, like why did I not? I don't know. It's just everything's for a reason, and check in with yourself, check in with your friends. And I think it's like we said, you don't need to talk all the time, but even setting like little reminders on your calendar, like, or if something made you think of somebody, like tell them in that moment instead of just like, oh, that's nice, that made me think of them, but not share it. Like I think it's just the little things that can go a long way as well in a friendship, because everyone's very busy, everyone has a lot going on in their 20s and their 30s. Like we can't always be keeping up with everyone and seeing everyone all the time. Like I go with friends with talking without talking for like months, and then we just check in. Oh, you're in town? Okay, let's grab coffee, and then you catch up, and that should be okay. And I think it's just about setting those like expectations in your friendship, and also not being too hard on your friends and expecting so much of them. Like it's
I do, however, get very, very irked by missed birthdays, and people who say that they
yes.
don't have Facebook as a reminder make me very angry because,
Yeah, if you don't say happy birthday, that's just like not a good
but
friend.
like you, this is what bought, like when people are like, oh, like I don't know when people's birthdays are. Like, go to CVS and buy a physical, literal calendar for $2.99 and go through a fucking notebook where it
Yeah.
just says November 10th, birthday, like
Set a reminder in your phone. We all have phones.
exactly. Like I just hate I don't know. For some reason the birthday thing really
Oh yeah, if you
I
don't
don't
say
care
happy
if it's
birthday,
not
you weren't coming to the wedding.
exactly. Like I don't care if it's first thing in the morning and you're the first person to say it, but like do not look at me as an adult and tell me that you're incapable of writing a date on a calendar. Like that bothers me.
Yeah, same.
Maybe not for your like full extended friend group, but like your best, if you don't, maybe not off the top of my head, but like if you don't know the average time that like people, I don't know, it just really bothers me. And I know it's like so superficial, and I feel like I don't really fixate on a lot of things like that, but
Oh
something
no,
about,
that's definitely a thing for I'm like you have to know your best friend's birthdays. Like
right,
and acknowledge that and
right. Like it has never happened to me where I'm like, oh my God, this person's birthday's today. Like that just does not.
no.
And again, this could be my own like OCD fixation, and not everybody's like that. And I get at the end of the day, it's not the biggest deal in the world if somebody doesn't tell you happy birthday right away. But like it just really bothers me because that to me is the most minimum effort. And like if
Yeah.
you literally can't, and like, oh, I don't have Facebook, I don't have social media, like I never know when it is. Like you have a calendar, you have a phone,
Yeah.
my phone can literally set it to pop up once a year. Like it
Mhm.
just really bothers me for some reason. And that's coming from somebody who literally is the most low maintenance friend ever. Like just fucking tell people happy birthday. It really bothers
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Keep track of them.
Yeah, that's not hard and doesn't require much effort at all.
No.
But yeah, just setting the reminders, even like once a month, put it in your calendar, like a day to check in with everyone and like,
Yes.
hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? Like, just something that's just like very low effort, but like high impact in their
Yeah.
life, I think goes a long way. Or if you know something's coming up, like if I know something's coming up for people, sometimes I'll even like put it in my notes or like a calendar. But that's like, I mean, obviously going an extra little step, but I try to remember at least like important things in people's life to be like, how did that go? Or like, how did moving go? Or
Yep.
are you getting ready for this? Like, I just think it just means so much if you remember certain things and like, instead of waiting for your friend to bring it up. Because sometimes maybe people don't want to like bring things up multiple times. They know you have things going on, but it is nice sometimes to be like, wait, how is your mom doing? Or like, how was this move? And it's like, oh my God, they remembered. And like, that's so nice because there's so much going on in your brain and just too many things. So I literally have to like write it down for myself to remember what's going on with everyone and check in because it goes a long way. You know?
I agree.
I have a pimple.
I very much agree.
But yeah, just
Adult
French.
friendships are weird.
Yeah, they're weird. They can be hard, but they're also amazing because you're just all
Mhm.
like growing and there's so much going on in your 20s and your 30s and life is changing so much
Mhm.
and it's hard and it's emotional, but it's fun and there's truly nothing like friendships in your 20s and your 30s. I feel like that's where you really establish like your people.
Yep.
Like high school, college, you have like the people you see daily and it's kind of like, oh, I see you all the time, so we're just friends, but
Mhm.
it's like you find your core in your 20s and your 30s, but just remember that like a friend to all is a friend to none. So just make sure you are very selective of the people you are keeping around you, that you want to be around. You can't be friends with 30 people and be a good friend to all of them. It's just like
Mhm.
physically impossible if you have other shit going on in your life besides being
Well,
a friend.
that, but I also feel like there are people who like constantly are overextending themselves and over available and like every day on their
Yes.
story is like, look at my best friend doing and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have two.
Yeah,
Like I
literally.
have like a handful and like
Yes,
it,
same.
but then that makes me nervous for those people because I'm like, are any of them more than surface level or
Mhm.
like are you
Exactly.
kind of just like is it a convenience thing like because I know that's how I was when I
Yeah.
feel like I had a lot of misaligned friends is I kept a lot of people like at an arm's length so that I always had an
Mhm.
option. And now I've just kind of realized like if any of the top five options aren't available, like I'm
Yeah.
fine by myself.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
whereas I think 10 years ago I was like I can't go somewhere by myself. Like I can't go
Mhm.
grocery shopping alone. Like I was so like needed to keep like all of these people around. So I do think also it's when there's too many, it's like you're overextending it. Like there's no way. And like I
Yeah.
worry about them because I'm like, are you taking time to worry about yourself as
Mhm.
opposed to everybody around you? And as a people pleaser, I know that feeling. So I just hate when
Mhm.
I see people that I feel like might be like overextending themselves a little bit too much
Yeah.
because it should be work to have a friendship. Like it you shouldn't have 55 people that are
Yeah.
your closest friend. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just and it's I
And
guess it's okay if it is. It's just not me. So I take back everything I just said. It's fine if you're that person. I
I
just
just
know that
don't
I
see how that's
me
possible having
either.
like deep, like genuine friendships with
Hmm.
more than a handful of people. Like it's just
Right.
kind of I imagine is surface level because I don't know. Even I just letting
And
that
I'm
many
always
people
open to
in
like
is
making new friends and
yeah.
like talking to people.
Yeah, for sure. You can have like friendships and like friendly people around that you just see in group settings and whatever, but like I don't know, I feel like in my 20s and 30s once I have my core people, like I've had my core people and they're like my people. And I mean if someone else comes along, great. I just
Hmm.
yeah, I can't see myself being the person that has like 10 best friends. Like
Hmm. No, me either. We love all you yappers, but
yeah, exactly. You're all our best friends.
we really do love you, though. Thank you for listening to us yap about
Yeah.
friends and friendships. And yeah, I think they're hard and they're worth it. And if
Yeah,
you like
just
that, sometimes they last, sometimes they don't. And
mhm.
here we are.
Yeah, evaluate your circle. Who's making you better? Who's making you feel worse? How do you feel when you leave a setting with them?
How you feel after is huge because I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people can like mask in the moment or like
Yeah.
do what they need to do just to like have a good time. But then when you leave, are you like, oh my God, like I shouldn't have told them this because now they're gonna do that, or I should have done
Mm-hmm.
this and I should have gone home an hour. Like how you feel when you leave, I think is more
Yeah.
telling than how that person makes you feel when they're around because I think a lot of people can get caught up in, oh yeah, like this is a good time while I'm here.
Yeah.
And then you leave
Yeah.
and you feel bad and you're
Yeah.
like, I shouldn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Makes you realize a
Or
lot.
like if you have ever walked out of a room and been like, are they talking about me?
Mm,
They are. Like they are. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it is your anxiety just getting the best of you. But if you do have people that make you feel like uncomfortable to not be in the room with them because of what they would be doing or saying about you, like that's
mm-hmm.
something important to pay attention to as well. And yes, sometimes it can be overthinking and just like thinking the world is out to get you. But I also think there's a lot of validity in feeling that way about somebody.
Yeah, I think you start feeling that way when you notice that they are like that with other people. Like, I think that's kind of what makes you think that is like, oh, they talk about all these people that they're friends with, and then what's said about me. Like, if they are talking to you about people, they're going to be talking about you to those people too. So just, especially when they're keeping those friends around, so just realize that if they are talking about these people, but they keep them around, like,
There's a reason that they're there.
something's being said about you as well. So just be very careful sometimes with certain friends, which just sucks. Like, we should all just be in our own fucking lane and supporting and loving each other. And that's all I ever want from my best friends. So
Literally.
yeah, just realize that some people don't have great intentions in your friendships. And if you have that weird feeling, it's probably for a reason.
Listen to your gut. Listen to your heart.
Yeah, the gut is never wrong. Not that I have experienced. It's always right. Your intuition is very powerful. Well,
all right, we have to go before we start singing like
I know, we need to stop.
crazy bitch.
Like when an instructor just starts singing all during class. Ugh.
Oh, that's my pet peeve.
Yeah, same.
I hate when they sing on mics.
It
Any
happens
sort
too
of
much.
woo or any sort of singing on a mic makes me want to rip it out.
Ugh, I can't. Well, we love y'all. Stay unfiltered and good luck navigating those friendships.
Luck. Rough out here, but we got you. Stay unfiltered. We love you so much.
Bye.
In case you haven't heard from us enough today, come hang on Instagram at Socially Unfiltered Pod.
Join our group chat to stay updated in between episodes by texting group to 833-459-3349.
Download the Social Media Manager Business Blueprint to start building your business today.
And last but not least, grab your official Socially Unfiltered merch from our Bonfire store.
You can find everything linked in the episode description below or at sociallyunfilteredpod.com.
We'll meet you back here next week, same day, same time. Bye.
Bye.